Welcome to the Vomitorium, everyone. As always, I am your host, The Metal, and joining me today is Buck. Marsupial couldn't be here for reasons. He actually didn't even tell me why. He just said I won't be able to make it today, which honestly none of my business unless he wants to tell me. So Buck is filling in. How you doing, Buck?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I've actually kind of was in a rush to set everything up today, and I'm still extremely tired. And I barely ate. I had like, you know the White Castles, right? Like I had them a lot when I was over there.
Oh yeah, the little microwavable ones.
The
Yeah.
sliders, yeah. I had two, just a single pack left over, so that's all I ate before the show. And I'm like, I need some type of juice, so I walked down to the store just so I could get some caffeine or whatever. So
Just two of those little
running.
sliders. That ain't enough for me, let alone you.
Yeah, I know. I didn't have enough time to actually make anything, like actual food. It takes less time for me to walk to the store and back than it does for me to actually cook food. That's how close the store is. I probably should have just bought something else while I was there, but I wasn't thinking about it. So we're running on fumes today. Woo! But yeah, so I think Fishchozo wanted to come in, but before that, let me address everyone in the chat. Hello, Dillard, Abigail, and my sketchbook also showed up. How are you all doing? And let's see, let's move him in. Hey, Fizz.
Yellow.
I'm High Metal.
Hey, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right.
That's good to hear. Yeah. So, a lot of big news going on. Actually, this might be something you're interested in after I explain it. But the Writers Guild of America has approved another strike.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And everybody's freaking out about it. I'm not. I'm actually really, really happy about the Writers
I'm
Guild
glad
strike.
too. Just now you can file all these writers, get new writers in. Let's just hope the new ones are good.
Yeah, because everybody's freaking out because last time it happened, I'm trying to remember.
2008.
Yeah, it was like 2008. I was thinking it was 2007, but it was right around that time. It was right around the recession, right? 2008. And a lot of stuff on TV and even in movies was just kind of crap at that time. And that's also because a lot of the writers that went on strike were actually good. But if we look at the people who are writing now, I'm glad they're on strike. I don't want them writing any of this shit. They've been fucking up for the last few years.
Yeah, not exactly a high bar to jump replacing those guys.
Yeah, I don't know. Hire me. I'll write some stuff for you. It'll probably be 10 times better than the stuff you currently have on TV.
Hire me, I'll shit on a napkin and it'll still be better than what you assholes have been putting on TV for the last few years.
Well, as long as we're not putting that on TV, there are certain rating problems where we can't put that on TV. But yeah. I find it really funny too in the midst of all these projects that are getting announced. Like all of these, I just saw an announcement, a horrible idea for, they're going to turn Twilight into a TV series.
No. For the movies, the original books are terrible. Why? And the movie was terrible too. So why would you make a TV show that's also going to suck?
It's one of those cases where it's like the movie's actually better than the books, but that's because the books were so bad. You'd have to like literally be stumbling over yourself to make something worse than that. But yeah, I think it's because Harry Potter is getting made. And it's like, oh, well, we could do this. And all of the people writing that are probably in the Writers Guild, right? And actually probably most of the people working on the Harry Potter series, aside from Joanne, Rowling, who is working on it, are probably also in the Writers Guild of America. So it's like all these huge projects coming out and you're going to be losing your writers because if the Writers Guild approves a strike, technically you don't have to go through with it. But we all know how strikes work, right? If you don't go through with the strike, then you're technically crossing the picket line and you will be ousted from the community. So most people will participate in the strike, or they'll leave the Writers Guild. And if you leave the Writers Guild, you won't be able to get back in, basically, right?
Why does the Writers Guild have so much power? That's the thing.
All guilds have power. One of the reasons is because it's a union. So they're the ones that lobby and argue on behalf of the people in the union. That's how modern guilds work. And
Well, why can't all companies just hire freelance writers? That'll probably make more sense.
But the problem is, so when you have a large, powerful organization that is working on your behalf, it's not that companies can't hire freelance writers. It's the largest companies will only go through the union. So their agencies and such will send people to them, right? Or they'll even just refuse people that don't have that little card, the membership card for it. It's almost like, not like having a license, but it's almost like having a license to work in the industry. So anybody who leaves it is basically committing to working outside of the industry. Unless we realize that people outside of this current field of writers are actually better at writing than the people who are in it. And then the Writers Guild might lose all power whatsoever. The strike might blow up in their face. And I'm here for it.
I just want them to hire actual writers again and not social activists.
Yeah? The problem is, it's hard.
Because here's the thing.
What's the thing? Yeah.
Oh, here's the thing. Like, for example, a Marvel and DC Comics, how come nobody cares about actually doing anything interesting at all? Just character turns gay. Nobody cares about actually telling any kind of story narrative at all about any crazy thing, even just be fun. Like, there's so many characters in Marvel and DC comics they don't even use, to the point that you can easily do a lot of stuff with any of them. Like, just throw random stuff together and probably make a better story than what they're making now.
Yeah. Well, that's because none of them actually care about the characters.
Nobody actually care about seeing it. They seem like they don't care about making an entertaining story. They just seem like they only care about themselves being gay, and they make story characters who are gay.
So this is the problem, right? And it's the paradigm of the people writing, and you see this throughout the entire industry, right? So you could fire them, but because they'll pick up more people from the industry, you're just going to get the same problems no matter what. This was my thing when it's like Marsupial was saying for the Rings of Power, like for season 2, they should just fire the entire writing cast. I'm like, okay, but they're just going to bring in new people who are just like all the people they fired, because that's how the industry is right now. And to them,
seems like they all clone shells.
That's
how it seems like.
They are, but the reason is that to them, a character who was never gay or any of these minority things that they're putting out right now, right? That they claim is minority, is the interesting thing. Like that's their paradigm. That's, to them, that is the interesting storytelling, even though it's probably the most or the least interesting thing you could ever say about a person, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the only way that sexuality actually matters is if it's a porno, but it's not a porno, so that doesn't mean anything.
Well, I mean, if you ask Tom King, he'd probably want to write one.
Well, he wants to write depression stories.
GMT says, start a writers clan in competition to the Writers Guild. I'll consider it.
No. I would just want to get rid of the Writers Guild. Just have every company hire freelance writers. That would make more sense than they're doing what they're doing now.
It would make sense. The problem is, and I, as a freelancer, I would love it if companies hired more freelance writers and stuff. The issue is with how big the industry is, they require infrastructure, right? It's like, how do you weed out good and bad freelance writers? That's hard. Every writer basically needs to have a Yelp page with reviews of people they've worked with, but that also means you need to build up a portfolio so people can review your work. And so your portfolio can speak for yourself. If you don't have any reviews, that means people have to go through your portfolio bit by bit, almost like an audition process, which involves hours and hours and hours of reading just to figure out who's going to work on a single project. This is why these big unions and guilds and stuff like that form in the first place, because it expedites the process. It creates an infrastructure, and the industry doesn't want to get rid of an infrastructure like that.
But speeding up should only work on projects that your company doesn't care about. On your big AAA movie releases you should not be finding quick riders like that. You should actually handpick somebody, because these movies are expected to make millions of dollars.
Well, so you have to look at it like a factory, right? From their perspective, they think that those writers were already handpicked. They're just not the ones that had to do that work. This is why you get people like J.J. Abrams on everything, even though like most of Lost was horrible.
Yeah. Is J.J. Abrams your name going to come out soon? Because is it hot? Like that just seems kind of dumb. Actually, pretty much every anime live action remake seems kind of dumb.
Yeah, well, I would say everyone. There's quite a bit ones made in Japan that are pretty good.
Yeah, but yeah, like for example, your name, you cannot make a American adaptation of that since the plot requires that it be set in Japan.
Yeah.
So like the only way you can do this and have it still make sense if it's the female lead's a redneck, and will Hollywood be allowed to do that nowadays? Well, like it still makes sense.
Oh, accidentally tabbed over. Yeah. No. I there are ways you could do it. I just don't think you should. That's the bigger thing.
Yeah. Yeah, because like I'm not going to watch the Avatar Last Airbender remake. That's an American cartoon, but still, I'm not going to watch that live action remake on the Netflix. I don't even have Netflix. But like, I'm not even going to watch that. Be bothered, because what the hell? It's not. It's already going to fail fundamentally because it's not animated. So the action scene is going to be underwhelming by definition.
Well, it doesn't have to be, right? The problem is the idea that when you make something live action, it has to be realistic. I think that is the issue, right? Which is why we end up with a lot of these bland and muddy adaptations. Like a lot of the Japanese studios, when they adapt like manga and anime into a live action setting, they're not trying to make it look realistic, right? So in some regards, there's a lot of animation in the adaptation where they'll just do like crazy, fantastic, over-the-top things that you just would not be able to physically see in real life because like material doesn't bend that way or anything like that. Like personally, I enjoyed the Bleach adaptation where they basically took the first season and turned it into a live action movie. Yeah, I mean, they had to cut some things here and there because they had to fit into a movie time, and they replaced the voice of Rukia in the dub for some reason, even though I liked her old voice. But aside from that, like, I thought it was great. They went over the top with a lot of the action, especially in the final fight. Like, you have, what's his name? I'm spacing out on his name. Was it Renji? Yeah. You have like his blades kind of like whipping around in crazy fashion that honestly wouldn't be possible for chainswords to actually do unless they were magical. If you take it from that approach, you could make a integrated live action adaptation that is larger than life. It's the fact that they try to make everything bland and realistic that kills it.
It's a good thing. Good thing Netflix. I don't think they managed to get the rights to Made in Abyss because they wanted to do a Made in Abyss live action, and that's ours would be horrible automatically. I
Yeah.
mean, do you know what Made in Abyss is?
Yes, I do, and you've only brought it up every single time you've been on the show.
Okay, but yeah, like that, yeah, because the content is rated M, but it stars children, and that's kind of the problem. Like, you can make a show that stars children, but also has graphic violence and whatnot. Like, that's
I don't know if that is inherently a problem.
and,
I mean,
and also new
Battle
it's like,
Royale was a
no, it like preteens. No, preteens. It
yeah.
stars it stars extremely graphic violence and also nudity. Like what?
Yeah,
Like,
that is definitely an American problem. I don't know if that's a problem for other countries. There are definitely countries
exactly.
that would do that stuff.
Mm.
GMT says, you know what? A real international effort. Get some Bollywood action directors for the action scenes. I agree. Bollywood action movies are amazing. They do over the top stuff, and you're like, man, I wish our superhero movies were more like that. They're cheesy
Name
at times,
name one.
but they're great.
Can you recommend me one?
Oh, dude, a lot of their names are in, Indian. Let me see if I can find. There's this one guy. All of his movies are great. They basically call him the Indian Superman. But I am really bad at remembering names in Hindi. GMT might actually be able to fill us in on that. God, what was the guy's name? Like, I remember the scene of the movie too, where he like basically just kicks a rocket back into a like a Humvee or whatever.
Um, uh, I heard at one point that Guillermo del Toro wants to do it at the adaptation of Monster. I don't know how that might work. That might work. You know?
Monster is one you could do very realistic because there's
Exactly.
really nothing over the top that happens in that at all.
I know. Because Monster's my favorite anime. You don't know. Uh,
Yeah, it's a good one.
but
It used to be at
yeah,
the top of my list. It might still be up there. I would say it's top 5, maybe.
Hmm.
GMT cannot fill us in. It's on a netbook and half asleep. Yeah, it's pretty late for her.
yeah.
I think the one I'm thinking
Uh,
of might be Sunny Deol. Maybe it might be the actor's name. That one sounds familiar. But I can never remember half of these movies' names. The very few ones, maybe if they're translated to English. But it
here's the thing
is
with
a
me.
language I don't really know.
If I can pronounce a name, I can remember it. So but that's how I am. If I can pronounce a name, I can remember it. Don't matter what language it is.
Yeah. And most of the ones I watched were older. I've heard there's a one that was really recent, like maybe it was last year, called An Action Hero. I don't know if it's good though. I haven't watched it.
Yeah. You seen that trailer for the cinematic trailer for the Immortals of Avion?
More? No, I don't think I have.
That game actually looks cool. It's a first-person wizard video game.
A first-person wizard video game.
Yes,
Doesn't sound up my alley.
that sounds up my alley. Uh, Now you guys have to see more how the gameplay works. It's only a cinematic trailer, so
Yeah. I mean, if it was like Daggerfall, just like playing a mage in Daggerfall, maybe I'd like it.
As a wizard fighting a war, that's the concept of the game.
I think waiting for Wayward Realms, which is made by the original creators of the Elder Scrolls, Arena and Daggerfall.
Oh.
That one looks fun, and it looks high fidelity, I guess, graphic wise, just because it's made in the modern era. But it looks like you're playing one of the older games, and that's why I'm really interested in that.
Okay, I might be interested in that because I love Morrowind. You don't know, and I hadn't played Oblivion yet, but I don't think I might like. I don't know if I'm gonna like Skyrim. I don't know. I didn't play because Skyrim took away most of the RPG mechanics.
Yeah, it did. I was pretty upset with that too. I played it, but I didn't play too long.
Because it seems like you might as well make the same characters. I mean, there's no RPG mechanics at all anymore. So it's just like seriously, now just imagine that. Like, there's no RPG mechanics. Like, what?
I mean, they're technically some, because when you do increase stats and stuff, but it's RPG mechanics in the way that like most modern Western RPGs think they are, right? Where you have like skill trees and stuff, and it's like that's not what I want from a game. You know, skill trees can be fine, but
yeah, I know skill. Yeah, skill trees. I know. I me personally, why does every video game have to have skill trees nowadays?
Because it's lazy way of making sure things stay balanced to a degree. But I don't know, if you've played half the games with the skill trees, people still find weird interactions they didn't think about. But this RPG, it's the class of the game they call the Grand RPG, right? Where they're basically trying to bring back the dynamic functions of the older Elder Scroll games, and it's being made by Ted Peterson and Julian LeFay, so the original creators, under a new brand called Once Lost Games.
Okay, I'm gonna look that up, of course, since I'm interested in that, playing an actual RPG again. Like, seriously, man. Like, seriously, I want actual RPG mechanics in an RPG game. Like,
and if you remember both of them, the reason Ted and Julian left, and I think Julian was the one who had this quote, is they left after Morrowind was made, right? Almost near the end of the production. And he was, I don't think either of them were actually happy with Morrowind, but I believe it was Julian that said that, like, in Daggerfall, the world went on for miles, right? And you were always in this expanding world every single time that was almost different when you jumped into it. So it seemed like the world was endless. In Morrowind, you could see a spot in the distance and you could get there in a reasonable amount of time. And to him, that took away a lot of the vastness and exploration of the world.
I don't agree with that.
And I like Morrowind, but I actually do kind of agree with him. It's not that you can't make a game like that. It's just they had something special with the procedurally generated Daggerfall, something that like a lot of other people weren't doing, and it seems like they were going away from the one of the things that was making their game special into being like other people's games. And if you look at that track, right, going on, Skyrim is the least Elder Scrolls the game and the more like every Western RPG that you can find.
Like I said, it's not really even really RPG. It might as well be a kind of FPS, some first-person action game. Might as well. I mean, that's what it seems like. Right, right.
My tabs. We do actually have some other topics to talk about, though. Let me see. Oh yeah, this one. So we had some a little bit of news about Deadpool 3 coming out, and most of it was about Wolverine. And Ryan Reynolds wants us to be aware that Deadpool 3's Wolverine is going to be very, very different than what you saw in X-Men. And from what little he said about it and what I can assume based on the other Deadpool movies, is we're probably actually going to have Jackman acting the way that Wolverine is supposed to act, since he never got to do that in any of the X-Men movies.
So he'll be saying bub quite a bit. And
Oh, yeah, he's got to be saying bub. He's probably going to be drinking a lot too.
Mm,
And he's basically going to be like a berserker.
okay.
That's
Okay,
my
yeah.
assumption. He's going to be acting like Logan is supposed to act. Because everybody else that's been brought into Deadpool so far has been a lot, except for Domino. Domino's like the one exception, and that's why I'm still holding my breath on whether Wolverine is going to be like Wolverine. But most other characters that were brought into Deadpool acted a lot like the way that they did in the actual comics.
Yeah, I know.
I'm still upset with Domino.
Domino's now. I couldn't even tell it's supposed to be Domino. I couldn't tell.
Hey, it's John Dillard.
Hey, where the hell is Marsupial Gamer?
I have no clue.
I know. That's what I'm wondering. We got Buck here, being not saying much.
Well, that's because you were talking.
Look, I
about-
come to watch this show for the celebrities. And if celebrity international superstar Marsupial Gamer is not on, what's the
Wanted man
Yeah,
in multiple
I was-
countries, Marsupial Gamer.
Yeah, I was always confused by the name, considering that he's not Australian. Yeah.
Why, do
Yeah.
only Australians game?
No, the marsupial. Like, marsupials mostly live in Australia. The only marsupial that don't live in Australia is possums,
Yeah.
and they also live in Australia.
Look,
I
man,
can't
I'm
tell
a
you.
Chrome Dog expert, not a Marsupial expert.
He just he sent me a text earlier that I will rudely read on stream if I can open it.
Well, at least he's not a no-call, no-show.
No, he gave me plenty of warning. And he's like, not sure if I'm gonna make it today. Is Buck around? So yeah, that's why Buck's here.
And was he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm still weird, but yeah, But what we talking about again? We said points.
We were talking about
We were
the fact
talking about
that,
Marsupial Gamer
well,
and
we
how
were.
Fish chose as a great replacement.
Well,
Oh, that.
before Dillard jumped in, we were talking about how Hugh Jackman will be acting very differently in Deadpool 3 than he has been in any of the X-Men movies as Wolverine.
I'm not sure about this Deadpool 3 because Deadpool 2 wasn't really that good. I mean, it was not that good to me. I mean, like, wow, like I'm not like Deadpool 2 that much.
I enjoyed it, just not
I
as
like
much as the
Deadpool
original.
2 much more than number 1.
Oh, you did? That's a controversial
Mm-hmm.
opinion. Defend it.
Because a lot of these superhero movie sequels, they seem like not to know what to do with the sequel because I don't know why. Like they have no, they don't seem to they seem to stop caring.
What did you
Right.
like more about the sequel than you did the original, Dillard?
Oh, I like how there was just way more X-Men, way more side characters, X-Force. I just loved how it just kind of blew up and blew out. And they
Yeah,
took this character, Domino, who I hated in the comics, and actually made her likable.
Ah, see, that explains a lot. I liked the way Domino was in the comics, so I hated the version they had in the movie.
Ah,
But no, that explains
Well, I
it
guess
because
that
that
makes
does
some
come whether
sense.
you like the character or not, right? Like I never liked Dr. Octopus until Sam Raimi made a version that I liked. But then I was always like, yeah, but I feel sorry for people who liked him the way he was before that because that kind of changed the way Otto was from that point forward.
I'm the same. I'm with you on that. But again, I had this really, really bad experience happen when the X-Men 3 came out and they introduced the Juggernaut.
Oh, and I
And I was like, golly, what
It's
a nightmare that ended up
funny
being.
as a standalone character if you know nothing about Juggernaut, but it's horrible if you like Juggernaut.
Yeah, Juggernaut. I mean,
Right. His
they can
Juggernaut in
never.
part 2 was a major improvement to the X
Yeah,
Men Juggernaut.
Oh, and the
yeah. Keep in
fight
mind,
between Colossus and Juggernaut was so good.
keep in mind, you can never really
Yeah.
have a comics accurate Juggernaut in X Men movies anyway, because comics Juggernaut is a agent of Sitorak. Um,
Yeah.
he got powers from a
Now, we
magical
all know
being
who
called
Juggernaut is.
got powers from a magical being called Sitorak, and he wants to kill Charles Xavier because that's his half brother or something.
Yes.
Uh,
Charles has a lot of family that wants to kill him.
Just like
Yeah.
me.
It's not even the weirdest
But
family
even though it
member.
was
He's got
funny
a
when they
shadow of
added
his
it,
own psyche,
You know, in there though.
right?
Like, even though it was funny when they added in, you know, Jones, whatever, with the Vinnie Jones with the Juggernaut bitch, which was
Yeah.
funny. Which is, to me, that was the funniest part of Juggernaut, was the cartoon spoof.
yeah.
You know, I just the whole Juggernaut, the massiveness of him, how he was all, you know, basically just 3D.
Yeah.
It fit way better.
Oh, especially that part where he like ripped Deadpool in half. That
Yeah,
was great. I loved it.
and I even like the ending. You know, stick a electrified cable up his ass and leave him to float in the pool. Like, what else can you do? You can't really stop him, really. You know, so just keep him occupied. Just get out of here.
Yeah, but yeah,
I love the
yeah.
Cable. I even as small as he was, I loved Cable. I love
Yeah.
what they did with him. When it comes to when Fischioso said it's like they don't care anymore, I didn't feel that at all when it came to Deadpool 2.
No,
I
it
felt
definitely
that
felt
all
like they
the
cared.
Well, a lot of superhero movie sequels, it feels that way. Like with Ant-Man 2, um,
I mean, the
Thor
first
2.
Ant-Man felt
Yeah.
like they didn't care.
I was gonna have to push back. The first Ant-Man was horrible. The second was just even worse.
I mean, I like the first Ant-Man, but the second movie didn't seem like they wanted to go. They won't have anywhere to go. I mean, they like what story would you do now? Introduce Wasp. That's the only thing they cared about, and that was it. That point in the movie. Thor 2, The Dark World. That was crap. That was actually one of the worst MCU films I ever watched. What had Malekith, who has no personality at all, as a villain, and then when most of the movie is about James Foster being kidnapped, even though he basically focuses on love interest being kidnapped, not really Thor. Thor barely has a character arc in that film. Like, it was all crap. Like,
Fischioso, why do you hate good things?
I don't know. I don't know. I hate a lot of things. Yeah. So, like, for example,
I'm
you got
kidding.
Netflix. I mean, Marvel made. I mean, at that same time, Marvel had a Netflix show by superhero has no positive qualities at all whatsoever. So, yeah.
Well, I mean,
So-
think about it this way. Like, think about the ending, which to me seemed very intimate, right? The ending of Deadpool 2, as
Yeah.
opposed to the ending of Deadpool 1, which seemed very much like one of those generic, big budget action movie endings, but it wasn't a superhero movie ending. It was just like the ending of like Eraser or something like that, you know? Or,
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff
So my thing is,
happening.
I liked both
It is
movies.
Garbage.
I thought the first one was better, but the reason I thought the first one was better, and I only gave them like half a point difference from each other, was because I thought overall the first one told a more cohesive narrative, and that's
Same
the
here.
only reason it edged out over the second one.
In the second movie, the goal seemed to be he gotta stop Cable from killing Fire Fist because Fire Fist will turn evil in the future. But that story wasn't handled that well, in my opinion. Like,
I don't know. I thought that was handled pretty fine, especially because like when you're looking at Deadpool, you really only need a basic story because most of it's going to be character interaction, how that's handled. It's treated like you're writing a comedy, right? So if you write any good comedy, you want a basic story for the comedy, and then it's all the bits on the way. Like I think probably the gold standard for how to write a comedy is looking at the movie Tommy Boy, right? Where the actual plot of Tommy Boy You couldn't come up with like a more basic plot for a movie. But it's funny because of everything they have to do on the way to getting the plot done, right? And that's kind of like how you have to treat Deadpool. It's an action comedy that's written as a comedy first. So even all the action bits and the storytelling, you just need a bare bone plot, and you're having like all of these set pieces and crazy things happening on the way to getting to the resolution of that plot.
Right. The reason why the reason why they handled it that well to me because they was juggling too much in one movie. That's a lot of crap a lot of these people fall into. Basically, we have to introduce the X-Force. From the they have the X-Force be here, and then we have this fight scene against Cable. Like to me, this just spent most movie building up 5 physics characters and you just introduced them.
I don't know.
That's how I felt.
I kind of like the kid. His career kind of came off of that too, because he was like the bad guy in the sequel to, is it the Christmas Chronicles? I think is the name of the movie. He was in the Christmas Chronicles 2, and that was.
I'll be honest there. I don't know how they did it, but they got me to like this very fat, very very unattractive, and very. He was an annoying little shit in the movie.
But he was really good at playing an annoying little shit.
He was so damn likable. I don't know how they did it. It's amazing. I can't agree. Deadpool 2 was very, very good in my opinion. I liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought both movies were great. I thought they were really fucking close to each other. That's why I'm looking forward to 3. Like,
so
it's under Disney now.
What is supposed to be different about Wolverine?
Well, it's very hush-hush right now. He just says that it'll be something completely new. And what I'm guessing is we're probably going to see like that same complaint in the treatment with Juggernaut, right? Throughout all of the original X-Men series, Hugh Jackman played a character that was called Logan and was kind of like Wolverine, but he didn't really get to act like Wolverine is in the comics and stuff like that. And I'm hoping what this means is we're actually going to see Hugh Jackman act like Wolverine. So like being a berserker and saying bub and drinking a lot. I mean, because he like drank some in the movie, but it was like your uncle who came to town drank, not like how Wolverine drinks.
Yeah, even less than that.
Yeah.
Also, he might wear a suit, and then probably I don't know if they're gonna get the suit right because a lot of modern in their MCU properties intentionally mess up the OG comic book costume just to have the realistic costume.
And even says what we pitched to him was enough of a divergence from the character that he knows and the character that he left behind that it gives him something completely new to play and something he's really excited to do. Which I get. If you've played the same character for so long, like the point of being an actor is getting to do fun and exciting things. So even getting him to actually play as Wolverine might be exciting for him.
That's interesting. That's really interesting, actually.
Yeah.
See, I'm probably not gonna watch it. I mean, my birthday comes around. What's this month, by the way? I'm probably gonna go to see Renfield.
Happy birthday, Fizz!
Yeah, yes.
No, well, it's not till a couple days from now.
Well, we probably won't see you in between now and then, so here's an early one.
My birthday, I'm going to be probably seeing Renfield, but...
Are you going to eat the bugs?
No, I'm not gonna eat the bugs and watch some guy eat the bugs.
Yeah, because Nick Cage was saying... Well, Nick Cage said that he ate a lot of bugs for this movie, and he's like, everyone would probably be improved from eating some bugs.
They know it's not Dracula's thing, it's Renfield's thing.
Then, no, don't tell me what to do. I'm not going to get a cup.
Well...
Hey, Metal, get a cup.
Yes, it's again. I don't really care about most superhero movies anymore. I mean, the Blue Beetle movie, that trailer that came out, looks generic as hell. They only seem to advertise the fact that the character is Hispanic, even though everybody already knows how many Reyes is at this point. He was in Smallville. But
Just because
they don't
somebody was
seem
in
to
Smallville doesn't mean everybody knows it.
he's in a whole bunch of cartoons as well. So yeah, I saw those as a kid.
I didn't even
Also,
see enough of
I've never seen
Smallville.
Smallville.
No,
I didn't even know he ever showed up in Smallville.
No, he's also in a bunch of cartoons I watched as a kid, and I saw those cartoons.
I know
like
the
Earth
character
Down.
because I read comics. I haven't really
I-
seen
I
him in
am
much of
read com- I
anything
read the
except for.
Jaime Reyes.
Was he in Young Justice? I think was probably the
Jaime
only
Reyes
thing
was
I've ever
Ghost
seen
Rider.
that he was in.
He was also
Yeah,
in Raven
that
the Bold. Batman Raven the Bold.
yeah.
In a lot of episodes, by the way. He was in a lot of episodes of that show. It's pretty much regular. No, Batman Raven the Bold.
No, I haven't really watched Batman: Brave and the Bold. I tried. I couldn't get into it.
That looks terrible. It looks like for little baby kids.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's supposed to be doing something like an Adam West Batman, but as a cartoon. Something similar, more in line with Adam West Batman, but as a cartoon.
I've seen some funny bits of it, but I tried
sounds
watching a whole
terrible.
episode, and it just, I don't think the writing of that show could carry for a whole episode. It was better as bits.
Yeah, but yeah, but anyways, I'm from. I also read some comics of Blue Beetle, the Jaime Reyes version in there a long time ago though. That was quite years ago. What I'm
So
saying
what
is
you're
that
saying
movie.
is you're familiar with Blue Beetle.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Blue Beetle. So, but the movie doesn't seem interesting at all. They seem to be advertising the fact that it's Latino, and they didn't really advertise the villain that much. Like what? Now,
GMT
I don't-
says that she's just going to watch the Timverse again, which I think is always a good idea.
Yeah, always. I got start watching more of the Superman anime series because there's a lot that I didn't see.
Oh, I loved the Superman animated series.
Like,
I'll
like
say
it
this:
shouldn't-
as a general John Q. Public kind of guy, I knew about Blue Beetle probably about 7 years ago. It was the first time I've heard of him. Never saw him as anything in a cartoon when I was a kid. Justice League, none of that stuff. Never even heard of him. I thought it was
Yeah.
a stupid idea, a stupid concept. And then when I saw that George Lopez was in the movie, I see that immediately as pandering. Couldn't care less at all. The fact that they are Latino and focus on being Latino is a big turnoff because of it looks like how they're handling it. And the fact that Blue Beetle is also, to me, as part of the public that doesn't really, not into comics, right? I'm more into comics now, but I can still kind of see how nobody would care. So they're trying to do something, anything, to get people to care about this nothing character who is not popular.
Yeah, yeah.
Just keep
'cause
in
I
mind-
tell you, as I am not a public type person. Like I will not representative of the public, but I talk to very regularly people who are. Almost anybody I would ask would have no idea who Blue Beetle is, like at all, any variation. of it.
I know the comics has some. The comics is a lot going on. Blue Beetle has a lot going on in the comics, the original comic book run.
Yeah, but most people
they
don't read comics.
And the people making the movie don't give a damn either. So don't.
Like, let me tell you something that might blow your mind, Fizz Jozo. When the movie Green Lantern was coming out with Ryan Reynolds, I was like, who the fuck is Green Lantern?
And that's understandable because I think unless you remembered the Super Friends or had watched Justice League cartoon, though that's probably like the only time most of the average person would experience
I
Green
watched
Lantern.
the Justice League cartoon.
And you still don't remember. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and on top of that, if you watch Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, there were people asking, why the hell is Green Lantern suddenly white?
Because that's Hal Jordan, not John Stewart.
Yeah, you'd have to
Yep.
remember Justice
No.
Friends or Super Friends. Sorry, Justice Friends. Was
But
next to that.
here's the thing though. Here's the thing though. You shouldn't have with superhero movies. You shouldn't sell the character based on how recognizable the character is. You should sell the character based on the concepts in the story, But they don't.
Tell that to
all-
Super Mario Brothers.
No, not talking about them. Not talking about superheroes. Not talking about
Mario
Yeah,
is a
that's-
superhero, okay?
talking about comic books, American comic superheroes. Not talking about like if you're trying to sell, for example, if you're trying to sell a movie based off of, let's just say, let me give him a Captain Atom. You should not be basing on, well, it's Captain Atom. No, you should be based on, oh, this guy has power to control radiation.
Well, so I'm going to agree with you on some part, but I don't think you can ever sell somebody on a character they don't know. This is what Marvel was actually doing a little bit better. They took the kind of like flagship characters that pretty much anyone would recognize, right? And then they introduced the lesser known characters through their movies, right? So that you could be familiar with them first before they became important in another movie or on their standalone or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then once they got people watching Marvel movies just because they're Marvel movies, that's when they started taking risks on lesser known characters like the Guardians.
I don't think DC's there though. That's the problem, right? They're trying to jump straight to where Marvel is, and it's like you haven't built up the infrastructure. You threw away all of your old stuff, and now you're just trying to be like, oh well, nobody knows who this guy is, but we're gonna make a movie about him anyway.
Like, there was this movie that I saw way back in the day, and I had no idea it was a comic movie. I just thought it was a badass movie. It's called Blade. And then somebody's like, I think it was my buddy Sean, was like, oh yeah, man, you like Blade, right? And I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, I like that movie. He's like, here, I got some comic books. You want to read them? I was like, what?
And Blade was a huge risk.
Not only did I not... Yeah, that movie, which is why I kind of agree with Fizz Chozo here, was like, I had no idea who he was. I didn't know that Blade was a thing. He was, in my eyes, I didn't even know he was a comic book character. He was nothing. It was just a movie called Blade, and it was about a vampire hunter. I was like, and this thing was tight. It was like,
Exactly.
Well, so that's also
saying.
that's the argument for the opposite of the Mario argument, right? Like you didn't need Chris Pratt to play Mario because Mario is such a huge entity, he sells himself. But if you have a character that like nobody knows, then you have the good argument to where like having a headlining star that people like, well, I'll go watch a movie because he's in it. That's a good reason. And Blade was basically sold on the fact that like Wesley Snipes was a high commodity at that time.
And also love the Guillermo del Toro Hellboy movies, even though those did not make a smash hit at the box office when it came out. But then again, I mean, Hellboy's not an A-list comic book character that's at that time, but they still made those. Those made quite a bit of money.
And GMT says Mario's only superpower is eating magic mushrooms. I could do that. Well, that's not his only superpower. And I don't think you have access to the type of mushrooms that he eats anyway. But like even regular Mario in the games, he once picked up a castle and threw it. So I don't know what to tell you.
Because Hellboy, like the Hellboy movies were the original Guillermo del Toro films were good, and those made a decent amount of box office.
They were terrible. I hated them.
Well, how you feel, Metal, about Hellboy?
I like it, but the thing is, even talking to other people, they weren't very popular. They were just popular enough to get a sequel, and then they never got the finish of the trilogy. And that's not usually a good sign.
Sell out.
I actually liked Ron Perlman's portrayal of Hellboy.
I don't like Ron Perlman's face.
Well, luckily it was mostly covered up in makeup, so you didn't really have to see it.
And I know.
I don't think anybody likes Ron Perlman's face.
I know. My favorite role of his was when he was voicing Slade in Teen Titans. You didn't even ever have to see his face.
Ugly motherfucker.
Speaking of Teen Titans, leader of the Cult of Raven, Joshua Hughes, is in the chat. Hey, Joshua.
Hey, Joshua.
Yeah. So, well, a lot of these things I have no interest in seeing like that. There's also a Penguin trailer that came out recently. I bet nobody's gonna be talking about it. Just like nobody talked about that Alfred show they had.
Yeah, like, let's take a character whose most interesting feature was that he looks like a humanoid penguin, and let's cast him as somebody who is neither short, fat, nor looks anything like a bird.
They are putting him in a fatter suit for this this movie, but I don't think it's enough to sell it. Like, you needed to be sold on the Penguin character in that last Batman movie. And while a lot of people did like the movie, I'm not sure many people were actually sold on the character of the Penguin enough to have a spin-off of him.
And he's a mob. He's a mob.
Wait,
of
it's a
course,
spin-off of a character from the Pattinson movie?
Yes.
Yeah. That version of the
It's
Penguin.
Colin Farrell's Penguin.
I thought that everybody was in love with the Gotham show Penguin.
Yeah, that's
They
the one that
were.
most people like, who also looks nothing like a penguin.
But what he does look
But
like
I liked
a
him in that
penguin.
because
He does look like a penguin, but not the typical type of penguin that's in the comics. But he has a big nose and looks more like an emperor penguin than a standard.
No, I
red
wouldn't
short.
say he looks like a penguin. He looks more like a stork.
yes, he looks very avian.
Yes.
You know when you push your pencil too far and the tip just bends instead of breaking entirely? That's what that motherfucker looks like.
Pain to go sharpen a whole new pencil.
But this Penguin TV show, no, I don't seem to give a damn because again, he's making shows about uninteresting concepts, based off characters that really don't stand their own, or you took away everything that made that character special. So again, Penguin, he's a mob guy. He's going to be going against some other mob guy. I don't really care. So.
I didn't see the trailer. Did it say who he's going up against, or was it literally just like generic mob guy? It wasn't a named character from the comics.
But it wasn't a costume character, so I don't know.
GMT says
I
Danny
don't know.
DeVito is the only person I can think of who should play both Wolverine and the Penguin. I don't know. I don't think at any point in his life
I
Danny
can't
DeVito
get
had
behind
the
the
physique
Wolverine.
for Wolverine. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Wolverine's supposed to be small,
Yeah.
but then he's even like too small for Wolverine, and he was too round, and like no.
yeah,
Now,
no.
Danny DeVito's best role was when he reprised the role of Mini-Me in the in-movie of Austin Powers.
Yes, that was actually pretty good.
Hey, I'm Mini-Me. Come and get me.
I actually think his best role, despite all the great things he's done throughout his career, is probably Frank Reynolds in Always Sunny in
Oh,
Philadelphia.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
But he just gets to go crazy in that show, so why not? No, I think a good modern Wolverine, like if we're trying to cast somebody who should be like the right physical age, is I'm trying to remember his name. He was in that Hawaii 5-0 reboot. What was his name? Let's see
There was
if I
a
can
Hawaii
find it.
5-0 reboot.
There was a Hawaii 5-0 reboot, yeah. That it ran for like a decade, from like 2010 to 2020. Scott Conn. I think Scott Conn would be a
That's the guy from
fine.
Ready to Rumble.
Was he in Ready to Rumble? He was in Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the guy from Ready to Rumble, yeah.
Yeah, I think
Him
he'd be
and,
great for Wolverine.
Oh, yeah, he's perfect. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
He even had the mutton chops in Ready to Rumble.
Yeah. He's had the mutton chops in a few different movies, and he's got the right physique. He's not too tall, so he can be believably Wolverine. I think he'd be great. He's got a lot of character and personality in the way he acts, too. And he was the son of the talented and late James Caan, so it kind of runs in his family.
I'll be honest. The only thing he would have to really sell me, because I just can't see his face without thinking he's gonna do something or try to be funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
'Cause he's kind of like a smirky, kind of wisecracking kind of character.
I think he could probably pull it off
But I think
if
of Wolverine, to me,
it would,
like the
yeah,
quintessential.
tough guy.
Sorry, to me, the quintessential Wolverine is like the quiet, tough guy from the Miller run. You know?
Yeah. I think he'd probably pull it off because he's definitely gonna want to be goofy, right? But if you just make it to where it's like, okay, you can't act goofy, but we can use you as like the butt of the slapstick jokes, because Wolverine could be the type of character that he could be angry at getting hurt, but you could put him in comedic things where like he's just getting hit by stuff that should kill other people all the time, but he's gonna make it through.
I just remember one of my favorite movie moments was just he's sitting there, he's gotten shot up by the Taliban, and he's killed the majority of them. So the rest of them are just pointing their guns at him, and he's just like, next person who pulls the fucking trigger loses his hand. And then sure enough, one shoots him, and he immediately chops the dude's hand off. Doesn't say a damn word after that either, he just does it.
Yeah. But that's my pick. I'm sure there's some other people. There's probably a lot of like unknowns, like no-name actors that you could pull in and do it. But of the people I know, that would be my pick.
But you said with these with superhero movies, you have to have a big name character.
Well, I think
Well,
only if you're selling someone that nobody knows about, right? Or you have to introduce them through a character, right? So either like Superman doesn't need to be sold. You could cast anyone as Superman, honestly, right? But a character like Booster Gold, almost nobody knows who Booster Gold is, so you would need a big name actor for that. Or you introduce the other guy through some known things. So you have like Booster Gold show up in a Batman movie or something like that.
But the DC Comics, the only big name character is Batman, and maybe Superman.
No, there's a few people that would just be recognizable. Like Wonder Woman, everyone knows who Wonder Woman is. I mean, little girls dress up as Wonder Woman for Halloween.
No, Wonder Woman's history and story keeps changing all the time in the comic books, even more so than every other superhero.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. They still know who Wonder Woman is. That when it comes to selling to the public, recognizability is the most important part for selling, which is why if you want to sell somebody who, like, the character is not recognized, but they're an interesting character, you put an actor who's recognized.
Okay.
Like, it's like a scale, right? Like you have to balance it, and when the scale is balanced enough, then the public will go and see it. That's how marketing works.
Okay. So, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and that's pretty much all you got. So for DC. So that's
those are the big three. Yeah.
That's kind of the problem. What's problem with DC is that you can't really establish a universe because they either messed up Batman or Superman, and they want reboot or etc.
Flash, I think enough people know Flash, but Flash has also had multiple TV shows, right? He had one like back in the 80s, and he had one recently. It's kind of like at least half the public probably knows who Flash is.
So I'm gonna say something here that might be a little controversial.
Yeah.
I feel like when I see Wolverine in the comics, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't strike me as somebody who's handsome.
Yeah. He's supposed to be rugged and maybe beaten almost.
Right. So like when I think or somebody who could play like a Logan, Old Man Logan, or even a Wolverine, if I had my brothers, right, like somebody back in the day when they were young.
Yeah.
It would be somebody like right now, like Old Man Logan would be somebody like Ian McShane. Or
okay. Yeah.
It would be back in the day, back when he was younger. Are you familiar with the actor Dan Hedaya?
Yes.
He plays Tully from the Addams Family, the lawyer.
Yeah. No, I love it. He actually almost
when
was
I think
Gomez.
of just the bottom of his face, like covered by a mask, it's a spot-on match, dude.
Oh, yeah. No, that would be great. He's such a talented actor, too. He was going to be Gomez, but then Julia came in. He did just such a good job, and he's like, oh, I'll just be Tully instead.
Oh, I can't even imagine somebody else being Gomez.
Yeah. But there was almost a world where he was going to be Gomez instead. But he's a good actor. He would have been great for Wolverine back in the day.
Or like, do you remember that Ren and Stimpy adult party cartoon where Ralph Bakshi comes in to play in Fire Dogs 2?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what I think when I think of the body like how they did like the real the real bluish gray 5 o'clock shadow on the face, the hairy knuckles, hairy stomach, hairy everything. It's just so difficult to find somebody like that that's also in shape.
Yeah, that's the big problem. The modern Hollywood diets and stuff, you could get someone in shape, but like you need to find somebody who already has like the right frame to build on.
But yeah, like you were saying earlier about the Flash, like or Batman, the whole question is when those things come out, who is going to play Batman? Not this superstar is playing a character called Batman.
Yeah,
the star is Batman. Who is going to play Batman?
Yeah,
you know?
Batman sells the movie. That's the thing, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. No, yeah, and they have DC has over reliance on Batman. Everything's a Batman property made into the film. Like,
I'm trying to think.
That's
about it. Maybe those four. Green Lantern should have been up there, but I like you didn't know who he was. They never did a good enough job of selling him to the public. Like, as far as comics go, he sells really, really well, but they've just never done a good enough job of letting the public understand who the heck Green Lantern was.
I mean, to be fair, it probably doesn't help that they replace his alias with an entirely different person every, like, 2 or 3 months.
Yeah. So.
GMT's like, Lobo comes out of nowhere, punches Superman through a building, introduction complete. Yeah, that's all you really need for Lobo, but you wouldn't make a Lobo movie before introducing him into like a Superman movie or something like that.
No, yeah, but like how many Batman properties have been made into movies?
Quite a bit.
I mean, Fish, you're not going to convince me that Batman's not good.
Yeah, it's just like their most popular character. Of course, they're going to make a bunch of Batman movies. It's between him or Superman. Like those are their two most popular characters.
No. How many other properties besides Batman has been made into intellectual properties besides the character himself? But how many things related to Gotham?
I mean, they did quite a few. Well, actually, one of the funnier ones was they made a show based off of the Green Arrow that was nothing like the Green Arrow and was more like Batman without Batman, and even half of the villains that came in were just Batman villains.
Yeah, I know.
To this day, I am still irritated by its existence.
Yeah, Arrow. And that show they barely use Green Arrow villains. Like they barely use they barely use Clark King a lot. Like they barely use Clark King or a lot of Green Arrow villains didn't show up at all. Like did Cupid ever show up in that show?
To be honest here, I enjoyed that show until it became too much Green Arrow and less Batman. Then I was like,
Well, they should have just made a Batman show from the beginning.
But keep in mind the Green
there's too many good Batman
show,
stories. Let's elevate somebody else a little bit using some Batman.
Yeah, keep in mind the Arrow show was made. It's originally going to be the version of Green Arrow from Smallville, but the actor didn't want to come back, so they had to reboot it. But it's still in the same vein because the only reason why Green Arrow showed up in Smallville because they wanted to use Batman. So and they saw Green Arrow substitute Batman.
Well, I also don't think that they could have sold a Green Arrow show otherwise. Like I really don't think it would have worked. I like Ollie, but I really just don't think a show would have worked otherwise. GMT misses Joyful Green Arrow that used to sing his own theme music while sliding around the city. Same.
I saw a video on Twitter where he said we want to make a Batman TV show, but we couldn't do but we couldn't get Batman get the rights to Batman, so we make a Green Arrow show, call it a Batman show, just call it Green Arrow.
Yeah,
that's pretty what the Arrow. It's the same thing with It's the same thing with a lot of characters on CW. Like,
did you just stack up on cigarettes for a while?
Yeah, I got my Menthols.
Oh, you'd black market them in because they're frowned upon. Nice.
Avast ye landlubbers.
But yeah, I don't know. DC has done a horrible job outside of its animation department marketing like anything. And the only reason they have some successful stuff is because there are certain properties like Batman that just markets itself. There's nothing they have to do to sell a Batman movie.
And it's a shame that not enough people watch the animated stuff. So that's the thing.
Well, they don't make it easy for people to watch it.
I know, it's direct to video. Like, you don't even market anime movies that well. Well,
Let's see. They have some other stuff. Oh, you know what's an interesting thing? Talk about movies and marketing. And you guys probably didn't even know this was still going on. But after 25 years, Netflix will be sending out its last by mail DVD this September. Because apparently they still send DVDs to people.
I heard about that.
They still do that. My God.
Yeah.
I figured that would have been done a long time ago, since pretty much the only reason they're in business at this point is just,
Premium service.
yeah.
Nope. You can still get it through DVD.com. That's how they've been doing it to people. They even have a Twitter set up for it called DVD Netflix. And they will be sending out the last one this September. Here's the real question. Let's say
That's
they send
amazing.
it out, right? And it says it must be returned by October. Well, if they end the service, what are they going to do about it? Like, are they going to get late fleet fees or whatever? I would just do it under a different name. I could just keep the DVD for the last one.
I wonder what the last DVD was. Was it
have no
Tootie
clue.
Tang?
I have no clue. I'm assuming just... Are they all DVDs? Does DVD.com also do Blu-ray? Because who wants to just, like, rent a DVD?
I want to ask you a question. Okay. Here's the thing. I'm working on my own comic universe. I want to ask you. Do my superheroes need lots of merchandise and toy sales and all to get the characters known? Like that how
It
like how
helps.
what how do you get the characters known outside just reading comic books?
But if you want characters to be known, there has to be some type of, like, marketing campaign of any sort. Like, toys do it. But cross-promotion, cross-media, advertisement, ending up in other people's stuff, like, that's how they do it, right? Comics
let me
just
break
aren't
you in on
read
something
enough,
here.
you know?
Yeah.
What do you got, Diller?
When it comes to toys, my daughter, who is a kid and likes toys, I felt really bad because for Easter, her babysitter got her some toys, and they were knockoff My Little Pony toys, right? And she knows about My Little Pony, and they look convincing enough. So I was sitting there, I came inside from work, and I was watching her, and she was on her little tablet, and she was looking up My Little Pony cartoons, trying to find the pony, the green unicorn pony that she had in her hand. She wanted to know its name. And I was like, I don't know, maybe click on that one, keep trying. And I just walked away.
You're trying not to, like, kill her hopes and dreams.
Right, I felt so bad that she didn't have, like, an official My Little Pony, that she's never going to find the name of that pony, right? Because it doesn't exist. But I remember, I mean, this is one of those things that's fantastic. When it comes to memorizing names of things, these toys come with little brochures. She calls it a map, right? But it's like, it's telling you, these are all the toys in the line, and these are the names of the toys. And that right there was how I remember. You look at the back of your action figure blister pack, and it had all the toys in the series. And the names.
And they still do that, too.
I was like, oh yeah, for a reason, right? It works like gangbusters. She knows all the names of the Crybaby line. She knows all the names of the Coco Melon, all the names of the My Little Ponies.
Well, this is how Transformer comics were sold.
There.
This is how G.I. Joe comics were sold.
Yeah.
This is how Spawn comics were even sold to some degree.
Even to this day,
kids will sit there. Yeah, kids will sit there in the living room with their legs crossed, not looking at the TV. They'll sit there looking at that memorizing the names of all the characters that they can see the picture of with the name under it. They'll do that for a long time.
Yeah, they will.
Oh.
Like, I can't see how cold marketing a comic book would be any kind of substitute for the back of a blister pack of a toy, or even a book like how I memorized the name of most of the characters that I know or knew for comic books was the Marvel dictionary or the encyclopedia, right?
Yeah,
Where it had
yeah.
all the characters, their power sets, and all that. Woo! My God, that plus trading cards, reading the backs of trading cards, that kind of stuff there is what makes things stick into your brain.
Yeah,
Unless
I've
you're
never
willing
had
to do
a.
poke grab.
I never had a Marvel encyclopedia, but Buck did. I went through his, and like that thing is great for if you just wanted to learn about characters you never knew about. It's like, oh god, I didn't even know they had these many.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, it
official,
just sucks
too, right?
if you
Like
want
official.
to go
Spider-Man
for
lives
the
10
modern
times
stuff.
official.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I need to know, like how do I get my characters known? The know outside just because nobody reads comic books, so like how I get what's the other?
Yeah, I would say the better way to look at it too is nobody goes out of their way to read comic books. There are plenty of people who would read it, but you have to like get them to, right? And toys are a way to do that. Cartoons can be a way to do that. That's why so many people read manga now, is because like they'll see an anime for it on like Kids WB or whatever, and be like, oh, okay, this is cool, and then they'll see like the volume. I recognize that from the TV, and they'll start reading it that way. Like you have to get people to read your stuff. Toys are a good way to do it. You can do trading cards. It's just trading cards aren't as popular as toys, so you're limiting your market reach by just doing something like that. But there are so many ways to do it. You just have to do outside promotion, basically, and merchandise is a great way to do it. Especially if you have a toy and it comes bundled with the comic, people will read the comic that came with the toy. Shoot, you know how many people just know the entire lore of Bionicle just because they read the stuff that came with the Bionicles?
I remember seeing catching a glimpse of those cartoons when I was a kid, but I know was really into it.
Yeah, but yeah, that's how you do it.
I mean, all kids nowadays buy Spawn toys, or
I don't know if kids nowadays even know who Spawn is. But
it's
also,
still- I know
like, I don't
Thomas
see the
Spawn-
toys on the shelves. You have to be like where the kids can see it, or you have to try to market it to an adult who will give that toy to a kid, right? Because really,
Yeah, 'cause
when you're marketing to a kid, there's two types of marketing. It's I've got commercials or flashy toys that are on the shelf so the kid sees it and they're like, "Daddy, Daddy, buy me toy," or you're marketing directly to the parent who's like, "I remember this. I'm gonna get it for my kid." That's basically how you do it.
because Time and Fall, I know Time and Fall is still pumping out Spawn toys, and the comic books literally just exist to make more Spawn toys.
GMT
Good,
says leave
yeah.
copies of comic books in waiting rooms with coloring sections.
No, because no, I said, because of Spawn toys, like you know how Spawn comics nowadays is pumping out a bunch of different variant Spawns.
I
Cowboy
don't
Spawn.
know anything about modern Spawn. I have not followed Spawn in years.
Night Spawn, like you got all these there's different still goofy little versions of Spawn that just so first to making toys out of them. So I don't know if all those Spawn toys selling, like
I don't know.
Anybody buying?
I couldn't tell you.
The McFarlane figurine line is a pretty big one, so they might be. Though, I feel like that might be less of a problem with trying to make toys and more of a problem with Spawn as a character has just become so powerful that unless it's somebody with his exact power set and abilities, it's no longer a credible threat.
Yeah, same. I think the CW Flash ran into that same problem.
No,
No,
I
that
think
was
they're just bad
always a
writers.
problem since the very beginning of Flash. Flash as a whole has had a problem with a lot of his villains being just him.
No, that was never a problem until Wily West created Speed Force. Before then, back in Silver Age, Flash's Barry Allen Flashes fought a whole bunch of different villains with almost none had the same powers as him.
I think the bigger problem is the writers of these shows, and that's why I am all for the current writer strike. Get rid of these people.
Mm. Yeah, because you don't notice if you go back into Silver Age and read the Silver Age comics, he doesn't have any villains with the same powers as him at all. Barry. All he did was fight tricksters and mirror masters and Captain Colds, and the list goes on. He had the second largest rogues he had on all DC. Like he does not fight other speedsters. It wasn't until Mark Wade came in, then got the Speed Force, then he fighting other speedsters on a regular basis.
Mark Wade once again ruining everything.
Yeah, because the original concept of the Flash wasn't.
Can I offer an opinion?
Yes, please.
I think the number one thing that's going to get people interested in whatever it is you're doing, your character, comic, your toy, is going to be videos that you put up on YouTube. Specifically, if you can make animated cartoon videos.
I agree.
However rudimentary the animation is, my daughter was watching this lady, right? This lady who basically all she does is take the little Cocomelon toys and do little stories and move them around.
Yeah.
There's another video she watches because there's not a lot of official, because cartoons are hard to make, right? There's not a lot of official cartoons out there to watch for free. And then there's another lady who does My Little Pony videos, but they basically look like the early South Park stuff where she moves the character around, has bows that she puts on there and does still frame animation, right? And it's all very choppy. It's choppy to shit, right? It's nowhere near as smooth as South Park was, which is not. This is saying something, right? It's very bad.
Yeah.
But she will sit there, eyes glued to the screen, watching it for hours and hours if I let her. Like, if you can do that for your characters, now I can't do that. I mean, I want to do something. I can't do that for mine because my character is very adult themed, and I don't want to gear it towards children. When it comes to children, I mean, having a video to watch that you can see, oh my goodness, and now you have something associated with that, like a comic or a toy, they would want it.
And it needs to be on YouTube because that's what parents are putting in front of their kids. They're just handing them a tablet, and kids are sitting on YouTube. And if it's set for YouTube Kids, if it is kid friendly, comments off and everything like that, the kids will see it. And then they'll bug their parents about it.
They have these channels that are massive. Dozens and hundreds of millions of people subscribed and watching them. And they're just god-awful. But there's something, it's colors moving across the screen with music. And they're not monetized. They don't get money. But the toys they sell associated with this stuff are doing gangbusters.
Yep.
Okay, got it. Okay, I understand that because I know I've been playing around with Blender since 2017, so I might be able to do something, especially with super simple designs.
Well, also, if you're somebody out there with established property, here's some advice I'll give some people. There is an entire website dedicated to animating things with a bunch of animators that would love to work on people's properties, right? You can go, it's called Newgrounds, and Newgrounds is not a place where you'll find that audience. But you can make a compromise. What you do is you find the animator in the forums and be like, hey, I will let you upload the finished thing to your Newgrounds if you let me upload the version to my YouTube, right? Like you make that split there.
Okay,
right?
got it.
Right, and then they get all their views and their clicks and stuff like that too, working off of your script with your characters, and you're working on it closely with the person, and then you get to upload it to your YouTube and use it as a marketing thing at the same time, and you both come out pretty hot from it. But you got to go where the animators are if you want to find people who can animate.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah. Like there's a show that I watched called Bruce Dude, right?
Oh yeah, I'm
And
familiar with them.
on YouTube. Okay, well very very simple animation, right?
Very. I wouldn't even say animation. They're more like animatics is the term for them.
What's it called again?
Right. Very very simple. Bruce Stew, Brewstew. And the guy just basically tells stories from his childhood. So anyway, one time when I was a kid, and he just shows little animatics happening while he's telling his story.
Yeah.
And I saw that he has little plushy toys of his little characters. That shit idiot kid Michael from across the street, all that, right? The drunk uncle with the Michael in his fucking jersey, his Scottie Pippen jersey. And I actually had the urge as a goddamn adult to buy one of those plushy toys from his animatic.
Yeah.
Like, golly, doing these cartoons it's solid gold. It's just so damn hard to get it done. But I mean, I don't know. I got to figure out a way to do that because I feel like that's the only way that people are going to break out. I mean, look at people like Ethan Van Sciver, right? Who have done everything right when it comes to marketing an independent comic book, and it's still not on the level.
Yeah.
Of some of these simple animations that are on YouTube. You know what I mean?
It's a very hit genre. I would say as far as animation goes, what they call story time.
Animation's going away ever.
Yeah, but as far as animation goes on the internet, because animation's hard to do on the internet, the most popular genre of it is story time animation, which you would put his animatics in. Kids, even if something's too adult for them, kids just spend all their time watching these story time animations. And they're probably learning words they shouldn't learn because you've got people cursing and stuff like that in this story about their youth, but it's what they're watching.
I heard a whole bunch of children are watching Hell of a Boss, which I didn't think that show was funny, but I think that show's actually meant for kids. I don't know.
That show should not be meant for kids. That show is meant for people who wish they were still kids.
Yeah, because I know I didn't because Hell of a Boss is still not funny. Same thing with Hazbin Hotel. Like it's not really.
I found the beginning of Hell of a Boss a little funny. My problem was the direction they started taking it, and I just don't give a shit.
What's your problem?
Well, so like the show was basically marketed as demonic office humor, right? Like their work is that they are killers, like they murder people, they're revenge takers from hell. And they go up to the surface world and they kill people for you. And the whole thing was centered around like, well, this is their business, so we have office humor for this ridiculous business. And it had a lot of inspiration from like other cartoons, like obviously Invader Zim was a big inspiration on it and things like that. They even had Richard Horvitz in there as the voice of one of the characters, and he helped produce the show. But it quickly went away from that office humor type thing. If even like Panty and Stocking was obviously an inspiration on it, and started moving into like the weird relationship, gay romance section of the show. Like, I don't. This is not why I came to watch the show.
That's in there from beginning though. But here's the thing: I didn't
well,
like.
It was there, but it wasn't the focus of the show. They started moving the focus, and that's the problem. Like, that's not what you were marketing the show as.
Yeah, but here's this thing. That's another thing. I didn't like Panty and Stocking, so of course I wasn't gonna like Hell of a Boss. I felt like it was just Panty and Stocking again.
Oh, I love Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt. This show's hilarious. I showed it to my dad, who normally he doesn't watch cartoons or anything anymore. And when I showed it to that, he's like, I like this. This reminds me of Ren and Stimpy. I'm like, you know what? That's kind of high praise from you, so we'll keep watching this show.
Yeah, but Hell of a Boss, the main joke is that they cuss a lot, and there really isn't a joke actually most of the time. It just seems like these in gay relationships, they cuss a lot.
But it's not a show made for kids. It's a show made for people who, like, adults who wish they were still kids. That is
also
100% the target audience.
It doesn't matter if you like it or not.
Yeah.
What matters is it popular? Do people like it?
Is it doing its job?
But the show is popular with kids because well kids will like that too. Like adults want to be kids. Well, but kids will watch that too. So
Yeah.
that's why it's really because I heard a whole bunch of kids are watching Hell of a Boss. Like they are like wow.
But that's no, I definitely agree with Dillard here. It's like you have to look, even if you don't like something, it's like if this is popular, you have to ask yourself, why is it popular? What is it doing right? And if I think it's doing something wrong, how can I do what it's doing right but better?
Like I always ask myself, what makes Isekai popular? Because Isekai is crap. Um,
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, just because something's popular doesn't make it good. Means it's good. But if something's popular, it means it's definitely doing something right. Whether it's marketing, whether there's something in there that is good, that's holding everything up. Like, you can't just say like isekai's crap because clearly, there are a bunch of people who like watching these shows. Could it be that they're focusing on something they like in there? A lot of isekai are actually based on the relationship between the characters. Could people really just like the relationship between the characters? Like, you need to be critical about your complaints about something because otherwise you're just shooting yourself in the foot. But you're like, well, that's crap. It's like, well, then why is it popular?
it's popular because I think it might be nostalgic for nostalgia for video games. That
I
might be
don't know
it.
if that's it.
Like, the video game nostalgia is it can't be relationships because they aren't really in relationships in these isekai anime because as most of these harms like they can't actually
Yeah, but
have
harem shows are almost entirely focused around the relationships between the characters, even if they're one-note
no, well,
relationships.
like that. That's problem. These are one note. They need not actual character dynamics because they're just one note.
And then maybe that's what people are looking for. Now, here's the thing that you have to understand. The vast majority of people are average, right? And I don't even mean that in just like average intelligence. I mean average in almost every way. And that's also why the vast majority of people end up liking a lot of the same things within their culture. And if you want to make things too complicated to the point that the average person doesn't like it, then you are also hurting your ultimate reach.
Yeah, like I have this problem talking to Rick Piper, talking
Yeah.
about making things different for the sake of difference, and I don't like that because like I'll say why. I mean, this character he's gonna make, right? He's making a character.
Yeah.
Oh, this character has plant-based powers, but everybody does green for plant-based powers. I'm gonna make her red just because so that it's different. I'm like, yeah, but everybody's gonna assume that it's gonna be fire-based powers if you give her a red outfit. Like, you got to think about like you got to pick your battles when it comes to subverting these tropes.
Yeah. Like, if you're going to make somebody red,
of just being different. What the
you
fuck?
basically have to make them look like a flower so that people still think they're a plant. Like, you have to make sacrifices and compromises somewhere.
Yeah, you can't have your cake and eat it too. People aren't going to follow you if you're not giving them a clear roadmap where you're going. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I made my character, right? And I made my character, and he looks like a hero. So I said, how can I make this guy not look like a hero? How can I make him look like a villain? First thing I did, give him 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah.
Right? I have to give some sort of indication that this guy's not your clean-cut hero, golden boy. No, he's a grown man. He got wrinkles on his face, and his wrinkles are outfitted with lots of stubble. So he's kind of grimy.
Yeah, you kind of like...
now I gave some visual clues.
You took the superhero outfit and you kind of corrupted it in ways, too. Like, you're giving him the studded gloves and stuff like that. They're like, at best, this character could be an anti-hero, but you can sell him as a villain that way.
No, yeah,
because he's not a hero. I gave him a gun.
Yeah, that helps.
It's not even a fancy futuristic gun. It's a straight up 45, 1911. It's a gun for killing.
Yeah, I wanted to a lot of problems with like just picturing some of my characters. Like, one character I found was a chick with the power to turn invisible, and the entire count will be based on sneaking around. It's basically like a solid snake as a comic book. Um, but most people don't want to read that. They'd rather have her get to give her force fields than Mad would be Invisible Woman, which defeats the concept.
No, I think you could, because
Yeah,
the
but if you're
Invisible
gonna have a
Man used to
character
be
that's sneaking
popular.
around, you don't want to put her in a big set of plate armor. You know what I mean? You got to have visual clues. This person's
Like,
a sneaker.
You could
know?
definitely sell somebody on a stealth character, right? The Invisible Man, who was primarily a villain throughout all the pulps, was a popular character at one point in time. It's just about selling the concept and the story to people, and you have to be very straightforward, and you have to sell it in a way that they understand. We also have Marsupial showed up in the chat. Lurk, lurk, lurk. He said he had to isekai into non-stop work world today. I'm sorry to hear. That's why apparently he had to work, and that's why he's not here. Overtime.
Yeah, apparently he's been doing meetings 6.5 hours over the last 2 days, and now
Yeah.
he needs to actually work instead of just being in meetings all day.
Yeah, he has the power to turn invisible. All he has to do is go on Tinder, and absolutely nobody sees him, apparently.
What a loser, idiot, freak.
But yeah, no, you have to be really straightforward with people. Because I even think the average person could be interested in a lot of things that they're not currently interested in, but you sell it to them in a way they are comfortable with. I think that's the bigger thing. People don't like to leave their comfort zone too much, so you have to make them comfortable with the idea that you're giving to them. Like that, going back to the plant thing, right? People are not going to be comfortable with seeing a character that looks like they should be shooting fire out of their hands, and all of a sudden they're telling plants what to do. It's like, that's...
Yeah, people don't want to be uncomfortable seeing clowns as superhero. That's our main problem. With my universe, people aren't comfortable seeing clowns as superhero.
I don't know. I think you probably could sell a clown as a superhero, but you're probably going to have to be very, very clinical about it.
No, people aren't comfortable seeing a child as anti-hero. There's another big issue.
Hey, I have to restart my computer. I'll be back.
Well, we're also at the end of the show.
Oh, damn it!
Yeah, it's at 7:30.
Well, I guess I'll just hang around then.
Yeah, I was actually looking for a good excuse to close this out, but that's a good one. Marsupial says Metal's background music is gone or very quiet. No, it's definitely there. I can hear it. It's probably the feedback or whatever the sound from Diller's end that you're hearing instead. But yes, thank you all for watching. If you enjoy the show, please share it out with somebody else. Give us a kick, give us a boost, get more people in here. If you really enjoy the show, consider giving a donation to streamlabs.com/Vomitorium Live. Really helps us out, especially going towards that magazine that I'm going to be making soon. And we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye!